Hello, everyone. So I'm sharing a conversation with a dear friend, Harald Kautz. Harold and I talk to each other far too seldom, far too seldom. But Harold is for me really kind of a trusted other. Harold is walking a journey parallel but different from mine. I feel like Harold often gets to see the deeper, the darker, and the dirtier than I do, because my work, my books, the Ascension Papers, my videos, whatever, act as a kind of a kind of a magnet and also a filter. So I really get people coming to me who are already consciously on their journey, awakening people, starseed people. So I get to see that side of things. And I'm sure Harold also sees such people, but he also works with people who are really engaged in the deeper and the darker journey. So I love when I talk to Harold, I get to see the other side of the coin. I want to give you a quick analogy before I hand over to Harold. The other side of the coin. So there are these two little ants. They're walking along, and there's a coin standing up on its edge. And they each walk around the coin, one on the either side, and then they meet up again on the other side. And then they have a conversation about this amazing big shiny disc that they just saw. And the one says, it was incredible. It had this big head, this human head on it. They said, no, it didn't. It didn't have a head. It had a crest on it. And they walk along arguing away because they don't trust each other. They're not a mutually trusting reporter. Well, Harold is my mutually trusted reporter. When Harold says he's seeing this or seeing that, I say, oh, that's what the other side of the coin looks like. So,
Mhm.
Harold, it's lovely to talk to you, my friend. There's so much I want to share with you, so much I want to talk about. Um, how are you
Yeah.
doing?
Oh, I'm busy, but excellent. I just wanted to say the same thing from the other side of the coin. When I started to dive into my own darker bits of my history, I had one point where I decided, okay, now I'll take a look at that really evil lifetime, the deepest point in my incarnational cycle. And whenever I tried to dive in, I simply fainted. And I did that for like 22 days, fainting once a day, saying, okay, let's give it another try tomorrow. And after like 20 days, I gave up and said, I need Arn's help. And then I booked a session with Arn, and he was actually able to hold the space for me to enter that realm, which was a game changer at that point. And he's actually not anymore the only one, but for a long time, he's the only one I go to when I am at the end with my own abilities.
So, Harold, I was so pleased and kind of flattered to hear because we worked together quite a bit, and then you also did a bunch of translations
Mm.
for work that I did, and I was very flattered to hear that that you had taken, I suppose, the essence of my healing work, and you'd applied this to what sounds to me like constellation work, but it's not family constellation; it's soul constellation. Would you like to tell us a little bit about that?
Mm. Uh, from my end, I'm the type I do everything that works. And from your end, I received that beautiful Divine Light Ignite meditation cycle. This is what I applied most on myself and found useful for myself. And I started to apply it when I worked with my clients. And it proved to be extremely useful, reliable, useful, like a tool kit, a core toolkit where you say, okay, you're giving me the screwdriver and say, what a simple tool. You're giving me a hammer. And in the combination of the tools, you can build everything and demolish everything. So it's like on the spot what it needs as a toolkit. So I started to work with that. But of course, when you work with groups, especially groups where you have skilled people, well-educated people coming from different healing professions, everyone is offering his toolkit. So we started to take in more elements of other people's experience. And the first one that came in was in the tradition of Hellinger, the family constellation work. But it had limits, especially when it comes to self-responsibility. If you follow that concept 100% orthodox, you have a grandfather that signed contracts with the dark end of reality and sold the soul of his entire male line. And then you have the male line with the problem not getting rid of all the archons sitting in because it's contracted by someone else. This is like a dead end road. You cannot solve it unless you find out that the grandfather that did the contracts is the same higher self as the one incarnated today. So he can go into his previous aspect and in full self-responsibility dissolve the contracts in the position of being perpetrator and victim at the same time. And then you get the show running again and you can shift the order and come back to what was meant to be. So we started to combine the two approaches of having your incarnational line and your family lineage. And you check, when you check the family, where have I been in before? And then it's like two strands that are intertwined in a defined way. And it gives you endless opportunities to come into self-responsibility. That were the two, and then we had a third one that is coming more from the practical and trying to save time and get to the point as quickly as possible. When you have the day consciousness and it's composed of destructive elements as well, like protective personalities that have learned in the childhood it's better not to feel, because when I feel, I'm in constant pain, so let's not feel. If you have such a personality sitting in a client, he will ruin the process. He will make sure that nothing comes into solution and self-responsibility, because this means we need to feel something again. And when I started working, it was like, let's take things in the right order. So you need to dissolve the personality first before you can start working with the core being, with the real aspect. But then at a certain point, we realized it's not even necessary. You can take the same tools of the constellation work to remove a personality, let it be held by someone else, so it's not in the way anymore. The one who is holding it will immediately start to stage some form of cabaret, because this personality is so limited in the reflexes. It's going to be a caricature of itself within 2 minutes. So it's easy for the client to see how ridiculous his own behavior is. And then he starts to question it, and then it dissolves by itself. Or it can be held till the core process is done, and it dissolves afterwards because it's not needed anymore. So we have that, we call it analytical constellation work. It's not systemic. It's analytical, because you analyze one day consciousness, rip it apart into the different aspects, and put that into an open space in the room. So it's basically the 3 methods we apply. And it goes excellent hand in hand with your tool set.
Fascinating.
It's one reality.
And I'm super excited, Harald, because I'm coming to Germany. I'm excited about so much. I'm going to be doing a bunch of stuff in Germany. And I want to talk about that in a moment. I want to talk about dates and venues and what we're doing in a moment. I'm just making a note that one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to participate in a 3-day event with you. So I'm getting to join in, and since Divine Light Ignite, I've developed, so many more resources and abilities. I've transformed my own consciousness. So I come with a new toolkit, and we're going to see where the new interchange is. I'm going to learn from you. I'm thrilled to see what you're doing, and maybe I've got something to teach, and maybe there's a kind of a next level that we're doing. So that's I'm really excited. That's the 5th to the 7th of September, where you are in Frankfurt.
Mm.
Okay,
We'll
but let's
prolong it, take the Friday in. Normally we do only 2 days. And I'm
okay.
curious as well, especially for the new tools, because
I think it's going to be fascinating. But I want to talk about that in a moment. I would first like to just I would like to get into some sort of information sharing. And I'm very excited that we're recording this call, because when we start to talk and we start to share, these two trusted reporters bring two very different perspectives, and there's often some really amazing information that bubbles out. So I'd like to share some information that I've just received, kind of in combination between my spirit guide, Master 8, and my Pleiadian contact, Adamu. We are right now in a really crucial and difficult phase of our planetary evolution. I'm told that in the alternate timelines, the timelines are now bifurcating, they're splitting. And there are lower timelines which are right now at war. There's full-blown hot war. The kind of tentative ceasefire sort of peace that we're seeing on our timeline is not happening on those timelines. Everyone's getting involved, and it's hot and it's chaotic, and people are frightened, terrified. Totalitarian grip is being asserted over various areas. There are these dark entities. Adamu calls them the Marzons. They're sort of, the way I think about them is they're kind of demonic entities that feed upon war. They're in a full-blown feeding frenzy, which means they're manipulating everybody into anxiety, into panic, into rage. A dystopian nightmare is busy unfolding. There are negative ETs, negative entities in the mix, participating. Basically, those civilizations are being sort of reshattered in preparation of a reset for a civilizational collapse. Now, on the one hand, one can say, okay, at least that's not us. That's not this timeline. But on the other hand, all is one, and we are, on some level, connected. And paradoxically, the higher your frequency of consciousness, the closer you are to unity consciousness, the more sensitive, the more psychic, the more aware, the more awake you are, the more this is going to perturb you. This is going to disturb you. It's going to cause feelings, perhaps anxiety, perhaps stress. You're going to be passing through some kind of a difficult portal now. But on our timeline, being the higher frequency timeline, humanity is collectively being pulled towards fifth density consciousness, self-responsibility, which means other responsible memes, engrams, belief sets, choices are going to come up for review like a karmic test. And that's going to cause a lot of people a lot of struggle, a lot of pain, a lot of difficulty as these sort of karmic tests pass. But we're moving to this fifth density timeline, which will then open the pathway to unity consciousness, a sixth density timeline. But what this really means is that for us, this is a period of chaos. This is a period where it's very difficult to see what's going to happen, what's the future. It's difficult to know how to choose, what to do, because even if you're unaware, we are inherently all psychic beings. We are connected. The future is here and now. We're all one. but those things that you maybe normally rely on will be shaky at best, and it causes difficulty and anxiety, and we can expect some level of kind of psychic shock, but we don't know when, we don't know how long this lasts, we don't know because of all the chaos, but there will come a moment, a collective moment. Certainly, if you're struggling, there will come a moment where you will feel relief. You will feel like you can breathe again. You will feel some kind of clarity arriving again. And that's when we're kind of exiting this period of reverberant chaos. Then we're moving into an awakening, and the awakening, depending on your frequency of consciousness, depending on how much you've worked on yourself, depending on what your soul has done in past lives, the awakening will carry you. You can expect something to switch on. Human apotheosis. You can expect to maybe connect with the collective consciousness, to suddenly know things that you didn't know, to tune into things. It's like a time of revelation, not because some external body, not because the government is going to tell you what's true, but because you will know what's true. It will no longer be possible to hide the truth from you. So this awakening sounds like a wonderful thing, and in the main it is, but it also brings us into what is called the time of sorrows, because we will awaken to what has happened in the past epoch here on planet Earth. We'll awaken to knowing all of the abuses, the ritual abuses, the sort of planet spanning dark manipulations and controls that have been implemented. And here the things that come up are things that presently people say are, maybe conspiracy theories, but they're actually happening. It's, the torture, abuse, blood use of like generations of babies and children, all this really gross, evil, filthy, satanic stuff. You won't be able to hide it away behind a layer of conspiracy theory. It will come into your being. You will know it. You will know it's true. You'll know what happened. So truth, justice, karmic return all happen quite quickly in this time of sorrow. But the good news is that we then move through this, and it causes a shared bonding, a collective awareness that we are not tribes, we're not races, we're not nations, we're not separated by generations, we're not separated by language, we're one humanity. And that sorrow bonding opens the door finally to the ascension of humanity into a collective consciousness, into a monad, into a social memory complex. We find oneness, we find unity consciousness, we find sixth density consciousness between us. So all of this madness, this chaos, this craziness, the fear, the panic, if you're finding it inside your being and you think it's because you're struggling with your boss at work or your neighbor or your family member, or, well, whatever is triggering it is triggering it. But this heightened sense of chaos and anxiety actually is quite pervasive. And it's something we're passing through. And it eventually leads to a good end because we are on the higher timeline. So that's what I have for you to share with you, Harald. How does that land for you, and what comes up for you?
It sounds like a brilliant opportunity to double check on some things where I'm not 100% sure what type of reality it was we perceived at that moment. It's quite a while ago. We were kind of in the last stage of the COVID scenario, where it looked like, from my perspective, that we will have two major timelines. And in one timeline, the vaccinated will use FEMA camps and assassinate all the unvaccinated people because they were so evil to reject the savior substances. And in the other timeline, all vaccinated people would simply die. Yeah, and this would have been a very elegant way to divert the conscious from the, let's say, less conscious people. And I remember one of our weekends, we had to solve some deeper stuff, and it needed advice from, let's say, higher levels of higher beings. We called in for advice. And it developed into something that completely went the other way. It was more like the higher beings were starting to ask for our advice. What will we be willing to carry? And that offer of diverting timelines for me personally, it would have meant that in one timeline I will have my own children assassinate me. And in the other one, I will see them dying. And I was just in the mood to reject all those possibilities. I said, this is not what I consider love to be. And I demand a third way that is based on love. And that was like from their end, like, are you crazy? Do you really want to go through all that pain? And I said, yes. And if it means that I am incarnating in the lower timelines or in the lower density experience, I will go with my fellow beings through that experience because I'm not afraid of feeling. I'm not afraid of pain and sorrow and sadness. I can take it at any intensity because it's just another feeling. I'm like the animals, I don't judge qualities of emotions. It's a gift to be an emotional being. So if it's pain, it's pain. It's like the same as joy, just a different color, but it's a beautiful rainbow. So I said, yes, I demand that third solution. And then the description they gave, and just because we have common friends, 8 was involved. He was in the room. The description 8 gave was like that it is something in the quality of a temporary separated timeline. Things will be kind of in one space, just that the ugly stuff will be only observable from a distance. It's like things happen, but not to you. They happen to someone else, and you will get notice from it, but you're not going to see it, not going to experience it in the full extent. And the other way around, and he said, it's more like it's not a global war. It's more like a bushfire that is covering one area after another, and it's going to be very low level warfare and starvation and civil war that is giving all those opportunities, because he said the problem is that people do not volunteer to return into love and abundance, and they need to be tortured into it until it's so painful that the choice of love and abundance is a relief and not a burden. This is exactly the quality, and this quality needs to be created in every single perspective, in every single human. And this is why it needs this low-level warfare. Not an atomic bomb killing everyone. This is stupid. It doesn't make sense. So it's not going to happen. But that low level is a lesson to learn. And if you make your homework and you as an individual find your own abundance, find your own love, start to share instead of grab and hold, the suffering will immediately end for you personally in that mess somewhere. And at the end, this was kind of the promise that really made me happy at that point. Those temporary split timelines will reunite, because when the intention is not to leave a single soul behind. And kind of worried me a bit when you said that timelines are currently splitting. I really hope that this still is the temporary splitting.
So thank you for that, Harold. There's a bunch of things that come up for me. We try to use human words and human minds to explain things that are multidimensional, and uh, we use finite mental conceptions to explain the infinite.
Mhm.
So we're always pointing to something, and it's not always easy to be as specific as we would like. So what exactly is a timeline? You know, we use this word, and what exactly is it? All right. So if I may take a step back and explain something like this, it appears to us as if we are each, like, here I am, I'm a human being, and my life's experience, I can plot it behind me, all the things I've done and all the places I've been. And if I look outside of time, I can plot it until I eventually die, and I can say that's my timeline. But that's an erroneous way of understanding things. It's far more like we are each a cloud of potentiality. All the things I could have done, all the choices I could have had, all the places I could have gone, it's all in that cloud. And there's one set of one node of experiences is not more real than any other. It's just I observe all the potentiality by collapsing it into actuality. This is like what quantum mechanics tells us, that there's a superposition of states, and then you observe it and it collapses. So it's like that. I collapse one set and then the next set and the next set, and that's how I move through life. But my other sets of potentiality are still available. So this is why I can create my reality, and you can create a different reality, and you can get a version of me to dance in your reality that I'm not even choosing. So we all have different frequencies of consciousness, different states of consciousness. Down the middle of this cloud, there is like a beam of light, one might say. And that's the highest frequency. That's the closest to source intention. That's your sort of like where your divine self says, this is the closest to perfect divine will for that life. There's the most energy down there. If you're choosing that, then you will find your life is full of flow. You will find doors just open before you even knock on them. Everything works because you're making these beautiful high frequency choices. The further you get away, the more struggle you have, the more challenges, the more your life starts to look like Murphy's Law, if you've heard of that. Murphy's Law is everything that can go wrong does. The more it gets difficult, and then you have health problems, and then eventually you get to the edge of the cloud where you can't go anymore, and your physical mortal vessel has to die because you can't. And so you will see yourself exiting that life, feels like unsuccessfully. So it's a little bit like that. There's the line I walk, that's my timeline. And then I experience that there are others that are walking their timeline in the reality I'm in, and our timelines all stitch together and flow together, and we say, this is the timeline that I'm on, because we have a consensus about that. So from that perspective, then, it's very clear that things are not fixed. This is why it's very difficult to do fortune telling, like really to say what is really going to happen, because we are creator beings. We that are here, we have incarnated here to create from here, so that the divine beings, one might say our godlike selves who are outside of this reality, aren't in here feeling it. They've sent us to be the part of self that is in here feeling it. So from inside here, we are constantly changing the parameters and saying we want something different. So from that perspective, I would say that there are reverberant other parts, other of the many worlds that are engaged in all of the things that we've said no thank you to. There, the dichotomy between the vaccinated die or the unvaccinated die. We said no thank you to that dichotomy. Before that, we said no thank you to sort of an abrupt planetary civilizational ending in 2012, because that was also on the cards. There have been a few of these. We've said no thank you. We've said we want to carry a little bit more. We want to struggle a bit more. We're willing to do the work a bit more because there's something to be won here. And so there was also this dichotomy, as I say, about the vaccinated, the unvaccinated, and from inside we could see there are people who are making this choice, which, if you're unvaccinated, looks like a terribly unself-responsible choice. It's a lower frequency choice to allow yourself to allow this poison into your body and just go along with the narrative. But they're not bad people. They're not unworthy of love. I don't want them to, just whatever, to die or whatever. I want to walk a journey with them. I want, this is what you're talking about, I want this to come together. So the paradox is that both of these are true. Both of these are true. There are divergences which are now in chaos, in war. There needs to be consciousness needs to see what it looks like to make those choices, those really low frequency choices. Consciousness needs to see what war and totalitarian control and shattering and all of that looks like. And at the same time, yes, I get it. It's true for me too. We are having a spreading of experiences on one planet, where there can be, like you say, these sort of brush fire wars, and some areas of the planet go to get shocked and struggle, and then we together we're going to lift this all up. Together we're going to approach the awakening.
So you see the rejoining as well.
The rejoining, yes.
Yeah.
There's a feathering, and then a coming together. And this time of sorrows is where we drop all our bullshit about, I can't be one with you because, some demographic or some nonsense that we've been fed to separate us from each other. We find one humanity.
Maybe to bring in the concept of density into your description, because I have the feeling it nicely fits in here. Let's define a density as a cloud of probable interactions based on the same spiritual frequency. Yeah, because there is an unlikelihood that someone in unity consciousness will interact someone who is deep in drama, because there's no resonance between them. So unity consciousness people will very likely interact with each other. So it forms a cloud of possible interaction, while drama, fifth and fourth, pure victimhood and duality in the drama triangle, have a high likelihood of interacting. Although it's two densities, they always clinch together because they need each other. There's no perpetrator without a victim, and no savior without a victim. Yeah, so they will never separate, really, but still it is fifth and fourth density as a spiritual concept. And I think the idea of looking at that as probability clouds of interaction is a good way.
That's why I love talking to you, Harald. I would never have considered calling it that, but you're exactly right. That's right. Now the magic is these probability clouds in sort of the spiritual realms. Those beings are not in the same realm at all. They don't even see each other. They don't even exist for each other. So the magic is to come here and incarnate here, and we're all just in human bodies. We're all just people. So we can see each other. There's a even if we just pass by each other, there is still something in that, let's say, that non-contact, in that frictionless movement. There is still something. I can learn something. I can understand something. I can learn compassion or kindness or forgiveness, or there's something I can learn. And the quality of the light that I bring can, if they're willing to accept it, can bring a little lifting. And because we are all one humanity, we lift together.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a share of ourselves rooted in the collective field. And there it's my choice whom I perceive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can make a conscious choice. I feel the collective of the Iranian people. Bam, it's there. I feel the collective of the American people. Okay, makes me more feel like puking sometimes, but you can tune into the choice of a fraction of the entire group, and there's no limit to what you can call in as your resonance field. It's just a
Yeah.
choice. Yeah. So
Yeah.
on that level, we stay connected.
So, if you may, if you'll permit me, this really brings me around um, to why I'm going to be visiting Germany for a bit more than a month, and then I'm going to America after that for many months. Um, and as much as I like, just I'm a homebody. I live in this beautiful part of the forest. I'm busy building a home in my little piece of paradise, and I would dearly love to just be a hermit. I would just love to withdraw into my little cottage and just be quietly alone and bliss out on nature. Spirit isn't allowing me that. I'm being called, goaded, I'm being driven to come and travel, because chaos, while being challenging and difficult, also has this magical property that it allows great change. That what comes out of the chaos can be seeded, and so I'm being called to seed. I suppose I'd call them enlightenment codes into the chaos. And I'm being called particularly first to Germany and then gulp to America to go there and bring groups of people together and raise frequency together through these steps, fourth, fifth, sixth, um, raising people's frequency into enlightenment, towards enlightenment. Show them what enlightenment is. Show them that it's not some kind of a ego attachment, like that it's not a badge that you can wear. Show them that it's a state of consciousness that their divine self already inhabits. Their essential divine being always is enlightened. The ego vessel never is. The ego vessel's not, it's not about enlightenment. It's about, holding stuff together and living your life. But that the ego vessel can surrender to the divine, and that we can touch enlightenment. And if we work at it, if we work at raising our frequency, if we do the right practices, if we cultivate, that we can move more and more into the state of enlightenment. And enlightenment is the very core, the very center of the light that passes down the cloud of potentiality. It's a state of bliss and joy and harmony and unity. It's a state of knowingness. So to seed those seeds of consciousness, and then also to create a network of trusted others, just like I was saying earlier about you. You're a trusted other who I can say what's going on, and if Harold says that's what's going on, I don't have to think, is Harold talking bullshit or is this really what's going on? Or I can let your view in. Well, to create a whole network of these that people can connect with each other, commune, talk, because as we go into this time of chaos, truth is going to be harder and harder to find. We all know that the mainstream media is captured. You know, it's a dark tool. We all know that. So what do? We look at the alternative media. Well, is that really any better? What about AI? Oh, can you trust AI? So who do you trust? What do you trust? You can trust yourself, but it's very useful if there's a network of others. You've looked them eye to eye, you've met in a room, you've connected, you've shared experiences of unconditional love and unity conscious, you've done energy work together. So what we can say is each of these networks can then also be networked together. So we can create really a planet spanning network where we can see that the division that's being sown, the lies that are being told, we can see right through it together. So that's what I'm called to do.
What I definitely can promise you is a fruitful ground in Germany, because people are there to be capable of picking up inspiration. This is what I experience. It's a handful of people. It's not everyone, but it's enough to get a spark ignited into something bigger.
I can
What
totally feel that,
what
Harold. The
what
flow in Germany is just opening. It's just the doors opening, and I'm being like drawn into Germany. A lot more difficult in America.
Yeah,
But
I've got single people in America who are there as well, but it's not a critical mass. And this is what you need to know maybe in preparation when you go United States.
yeah.
The,
So I'm
the,
going
the,
to
the,
try
the,
and draw. Sorry, Karen.
the main problem there is this civilization is based on genocide, and the genocide left a really thick trace of self-disgust in the souls. And when you try to inspire them to allow love to seep back into their systems, the first thing that shows up is self-disgust, because it needs to be seen before anything else can be healed. And this is so massive and so thick and so draining energies that all the attempts till now to work in the collective field in the United States were really a painful waste of time. And this is kind of the main block you will face over there. So if you can prepare for that and find something to dissolve or to help people to solve their self-disgust for what they have been living over the past. And it's from both ends. It's also many red Indians reincarnating in the white American or other American people, but the entire past is sitting in there, blocking everything that might come with ease in a different place. Just for you to share the experience I had whenever I tried to somehow get into the collective level of consciousness over there.
Thank you. So I'm assuming, I mean, spirit is leading me. I'm going where I'm being drawn, and it's very clear to me that I must go to the States and I must move around the States and I think we're going to gather. There seems to be magic around the number 24. We're going to gather groups of 24, meeting in people's lounge, and doing this sacred work. And we're going to be, I mean, I know quite a lot of beautiful souls, light workers, starseeds that are there. So I'm assuming that my work in Germany is going to be my preparation. I'm assuming that that's going to ready me for the big work in America, because we must create a sufficient a sufficient core, a sufficient collective in America, or else things look dire for America. Things look very dark for what comes through this period of chaos. But yeah, we'll face that and we'll deal with that when we get there. I'm also extremely excited to go and to travel and to meet people and to connect heart to heart, soul deep, and do this work. And thank you. I take your input on board.
Yeah, the worst prophecy I've heard for the United States is that just the Native Americans that still live in the traditional way will survive only.
That's
So
I
worst case
understand
scenario.
that is the worst case. I agree and I understand and I've heard that, and we're working very hard that that should not be the case. Because
Yes.
just as our discussion with vaccinated people, there's so much that is good. There's so much that's beautiful. There's so much that's worthy of salvage.
Yeah.
America can be, it can be really a bright and beautiful place, but
Yeah.
we've got some
In in
work to
in
do.
in the Muslim tradition, you have this prediction that the sun is going to rise in the west,
Yes,
which is the
yes,
opposite projection of
yes,
having something coming out from there. Like
yes.
it's always like if you have a fully intoxicated place, the remedy will most likely be found there.
That's right.
This
That's
is
right.
kind of
What it seems to me, and I mean, it sounds grandiose to say, but what it seems to me is that if we save America, we save the planet. If we save the planet, we save the galaxy. It's like that's where the big change must come, and that's why I'm going there.
yeah.
So, um, if I may, I want to quickly talk about what it is that I'm coming to do in Germany. I don't want to spend too much time on it because I'll edit this little video and I'll put links and all of that stuff in so that people can read more. But from the 20th till the 30th of September, we're doing a Lightship event. It's 10 days. It's at a retreat center in the south of Germany. And it's going to be one of those really, we did one in South Africa last year. It's really life-changing stuff. People who are at least of self-responsible frequency of consciousness. You won't cope, this won't work. People who have touched unity consciousness and really want to explore unity consciousness. We create a 10-day unity conscious unconditional love community. And then we do energy work together. And we, from a place of self-responsibility, because we are the ones we've been waiting for, we create a lightship. A lightship is essentially a transdimensional portal. What we understand is at this point we're seeding lightships all over the world, and when the change comes, when the event happens, that these lightships flower, they open, and they are autonomous consciousnesses. We're creating a baby together in the highest densities by weaving our energy together. So on the one hand, that's beautiful and amazing and magical, but on the other hand, everybody that's there experiences a moment of paradise, oneness, really oneness. What is it really like to live in oneness? And once you've tasted that, these people feel connected to each other like a soul family. So we're doing that. We still have a few places available. It's pretty much full, but we still have a few places available. So to our listeners, if you're interested, there is a link on the video right now. From the 20th till the 30th of August is the Lightship. From the 5th to the 7th of September, I'm going to be with you, Harald, and we're going to be doing, as we've previously mentioned, we're going to be doing a cross-pollinization of what we do. I'm thoroughly thrilled to do that. And then for the following weekends, the 12th to the 14th, it's also Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we'll be in Stuttgart. The 19th till 21st will be in Lüneburg. The 26th to the 28th will be in Otting. And I'm doing, in these 3 weekends, I'm doing a thing called Zingdad's Magical Mystery Enlightenment Tour. It's really about, I show up with my entire toolbox, with all that I am. I show up in my enlightened self. I raise my frequency to being my most enlightened self. And I see who is here and what is needed. And we seed the frequencies of enlightenment, and we discuss and talk and share, and I will teach practices, and we'll connect with each other, and over 3 days we will see how high we can fly. You know, what are the heights that we can reach together, and how deeply can we connect together. So that's those are my plans. And then on the 30th of September, I fly out of America, and I head out to fly out of Germany, and I head to America, and then we see what happens. So I'm extremely excited. Also a little bit nervous, also full of anticipation, and very, very much looking forward to meeting and sharing with and having deep engagement with some beautiful folk in Germany.
Yeah, I'm absolutely thrilled to have you around. Maybe
So
to add our concept, just as I think it makes sense. We take a slightly different path with the people who come to our seminars. Before we build structure, we completely focus on the inner work of becoming at least fully conscious and unconditionally compassionate. This is kind of what you can not enforce, but what we can guarantee that it is possible. If you make your homework, if you resolve your trauma, you can reconquer your lower chakras. You can fully feel yourself. If you can feel yourself, you can also feel others. And this is giving you this state of unconditional compassion, which is a basis for working with people. Without, you will always fall for the black spots. If you share a black spot with a client, he can't feel himself, you can't feel him, there's nothing you can do. There's no space for inspiration and no space for healing then. So this is kind of the first step to get a single person into that state of unconditional compassion. Then there is a choice that every single one takes. It depends more on the age of the soul than anything else. Because some people just decide to turn another round with their ego. When they have these abilities, you know, they can show off with it and be someone big, and other people make it into full service, realizing I don't even exist, you know. I've got the lower channel where Mother Earth tunnels through me. I've got the upper one where source energy, the male fraction, comes through me. I've got my divine spark connecting me to the unconditional endless love in me, and my soul plan, which is also an aspect of source. So at the end of the day, you ask yourself, so who are you? Everything you can observe, it's not you. You're not your thoughts, you're not your feelings, you're not your body, because you can observe all this. And you're not source, you're not Mother Earth, and you're not your spark, because this is just a fragment of source. So what are you? And you end up with this beautiful spot of being the observer. And when you can hold that, everything becomes possible. Because then your higher chakras are cleared. And then you can start, or then you can even start thinking about taking responsibility with others, not for them, but for being the one accompanying them to achieve the same thing, because you can offer the blueprint, you can inspire to self-healing. And the basic concept we have is to lay a grid that guarantees the quality of the self, the quality of the inspiration, and the quality of the inspiration to become a teacher. It's like three mathematical deductions that is giving a quality, a stability that is not possible to crack afterwards. Because it's only going to add up more quality from the people to come in, more experience, more strength, more collective consciousness. It's going to strengthen and evolve in that quality. And for me, it's extremely important to, in that starting phase of what comes through me, to give that quality management to the people around me, to make sure that everything we introduce is double and triple tested. If it really works, if it's really clean as a technique, you know, we completely step away from any resonance with the drama triangle. Yeah, there's no way I'm going to be saving America, because the only way I know is that America saves itself. Yeah, but I can be there and share my experience. I can go there and say, yes, I have been sitting in self-disgust with what I have done to others. And I have mastered it. And this is how it feels like to master it. Yeah. And this is kind of exactly this other side of the coin thing, because my soul path was to really dive down to the darkest things that can be done on this planet. I was the head of a black magic bloodline in responsibility for my line, and I've done all the things with my witches in the basement you can just imagine that are done. And I've seen the other side. I've been a cage child, being delivering adrenochrome for some stupid people, and even know where it was, kind of monastery Schwarzach in southern Germany, where I was sitting. And I made it for 8 years, and then that was it, with a lung infection, pneumonia. And so I have seen all those dark things from in my own experience, and I could, thanks to your tools, integrate all that. And this is what is giving the necessary blueprint that we can today deal with ritual programming with ease, because there's nothing frightening about it. If you have seen it, if you have been broken by it and managed to rejoin the broken parts, there's nothing scary about those things. And this is exactly that side of the coin that we try to refine and deliver. And yeah, this is kind of my approach. I believe me, I would really prefer to just enter the lightship and hoover off. But this is not what's given.
Yeah, yeah. No, the reality remains that there's a lot of work to be done, and we can't abdicate the work. We can't just step into a lightship, but we certainly can.
We could, but we don't want to.
You know, you don't come to this world and spend 1,000 lifetimes or whatever it is. You spend 1,000 lifetimes doing the tough stuff, so that you can have one lifetime where it all comes together, and then halfway through that lifetime you just exit, because oh, thanks, I'm done. We want to see this to its end. We want to bring this to its magnificent conclusion. We want to participate in the grand transformation that is still busy happening.
I've got a beautiful picture for that, because we had that offer from the higher levels of creation, where it was said, actually, we delivered the solution. Humanity is a lab environment that was supposed to find an antidote to the satanic problem in the universe. We delivered, it's all done. it would be easy to empty the lab, get everyone out, close the thing, the building, and forget about it. And for me, from the inner perspective, it's like waving a carpet. We've been waving, trying to learn to wave carpets for thousands of years. And finally, there's kind of one perfect blossom that we managed to create in the perfect beauty, which is what we came for, to deliver that solution. This is the flower that cures the satanic problem. And everyone outside, of that lab environment that we call our planet is like, oh, they did it, let's harvest and give them some holiday on a more beautiful place. Yeah? And we sit here with 99% of the carpet still being a mess. And we have that love that enabled us to create that one flower. And this love has no other possibility than to finish the carpet. There is simply no other way, because if it wouldn't be that, we wouldn't have made it to the one blossom. And there we sit, and we need to bring it to an end. And this is why no one is going to be left behind.
Harald, you literally bring tears to my eyes. Literally, you bring tears to my eyes. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
It's true and it's beautiful, and that's what we're doing. We can do no other.
Yeah.
Because love.
Yeah.
Because love.
Yeah.
We love it too much, even as we struggle with it. For years I would fall asleep kind of pleading with eight, just take me home.
Yeah.
But anytime I had an exit event where I actually could have gone home, I said, no. I've got work here. I'm busy here. I've because love. And we can't leave this job undone. And we're also transforming this into something so precious, something so beautiful. That new woven carpet with all of its flowers is going to be an absolute miracle of creation. Heaven on earth, heaven in separation. And we want that. We're not done here. Beautifully said, my friend. That's touched me.
Yeah. So
perhaps on that note, perhaps that's where we bring this wonderful conversation to a close. I'm so much looking forward to being in the same continent as you, to being in the same room, to working with you. I know there's so much that I'm going to learn from you and from the process that we're going to do together. I know we're going to weave magic together. So I'm going to have all of the links and all of that stuff. People will have seen them. And people who feel resonant, who feel the thrill, who feel the excitement, listening to us talk, well, that excitement, that's your invitation. Are you going to come? Are you going to respond? And will I see you? I certainly hope so. But until then,
see you.
This has been wonderful, Harald. Thank you so much for the conversation.